My name is Margaret. I am 72 years old, and there is a sentence I will never forget for as long as I live. You are a burden. 3 words, sharp enough to cut through bone, quiet enough to echo forever. But this story doesn't begin with pain. It begins with love. I wasn't always old. Once I moved quickly. I carried grocery bags in both hands. I ran after a small boy who laughed when he escaped my arms. That boy was my son, Daniel. I raised him the way mothers do, with early mornings, late nights, and a heart that never knew rest except in the sound of his breathing. His father and I worked hard. We taught him kindness, gratitude, respect. Or at least we thought we did. Years went by, life changed, my husband passed away, and the house grew too big for my loneliness. Daniel and his wife Emma suggested I move in with them for a while. "Of course, Mom," Emma said sweetly, "you're family." I believed her. And at first, things were warm. We shared meals. I helped with the children. I folded laundry. I cooked quietly so the house smelled like comfort. But slowly, like winter frost creeping along a window, the atmosphere began to change. Little sighs when I spoke, little eye rolls when I forgot something, little comments like, "Don't worry, Mom, we'll handle it." I started hearing my name less and the word she more. She dropped a glass again. She forgot the stove. She's getting worse. She, as if I were a problem, not a person. One evening, I heard my name in a whisper I was never meant to hear. I was walking past the kitchen when I heard Emma say, "I'm tired of taking care of her. She's becoming a burden." Silence followed. Then my son, my own child, replied quietly, "I know, but what can we do?" They didn't know I was standing there, holding my breath, holding my heart together with trembling hands. I went to my room, closed the door, and sat on the edge of the bed. I wasn't angry. I wasn't loud. I was simply broken. Because you can survive many storms in life, but the coldest winter comes from the people you love. From that day forward, I moved more quietly, took up less space, spoke less. I started saying thank you for things no human being should have to thank someone for, like being allowed to sit at my own family's table. Weeks passed, then months, until one day, everything changed. Emma, the woman who called me a burden, fell seriously ill, unexpectedly, suddenly. Doctors, hospitals, treatments. Life does not ask for permission before it teaches lessons. Suddenly, the energetic woman who once rushed everywhere could not get out of bed without help. And do you know who became her main caregiver? Me, the burden. I cooked for her. I brought her tea. I brushed her hair when her hands shook too badly to do it herself. I helped her sit up. I washed plates. I washed sheets. I washed silent regret from the air. She avoided my eyes at first. Shame is heavy, heavier than illness. Then one day, when I was adjusting her pillow, she burst into tears. "I'm sorry. I didn't understand. I didn't see. I didn't know how much care costs the heart." I sat beside her and held her hand. "Love is not measured in usefulness," I said softly. "We are not furniture. We are people. And one day, every one of us will need someone." She cried harder. "I called you a burden." I nodded slowly. "Yes, you did." Silence followed. Not angry silence, healing silence. My son apologized too, deeply, honestly, with the voice of a little boy who realized too late that the hands that once held him were now trembling. And life moved forward. Emma recovered slowly, and when she finally stood strong again, there was something new in her eyes: humility, gentleness, gratitude. She began inviting me to sit first at the table. She listened when I spoke. She asked me about stories of the past, the ones I thought nobody cared to hear. She didn't do this out of guilt. She did it because life had finally translated the language of vulnerability for her. And I learned something too. Being called a burden hurts, but believing it is far worse. So if you are listening to my story right now, if someone has made you feel like you take up too much space, if your presence has been turned into an inconvenience, if you have started shrinking yourself so that others feel lighter, please remember this. You carried others once. You loved others once. You stood strong once. And that strength still lives in you, even when your bones ache and your steps are slow. We are not burdens. We are chapters. We are roots. We are the reason some people had a place to begin. And the world is always softer when we learn to see one another, not for what we can do, but for who we are. And that is my story.